श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं पूर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. Namaste. We were originally looking at the stories of the Alvars, but we took a turn into a slightly different direction. We went into the topic of Sanatana Dharma. So what did we see? We saw what the word God means in English. We saw what the word Sanatana means, what the word Dharma means, and then therefore what the word Sanatana Dharma means. We saw this much. Now we have to recollect certain things. So whatever is there in the slide below is what has already been discussed by us. We saw that God is defined in English as the creator of the universe. Is it the same in Vedic scriptures? Yes, he is called Srashta. He is called the ruler of the universe, Prabhuhu, Ishvaraha. There are plenty of words for that. He is the source of all moral authority. He is the source of all dharma. Hence we call him Dharma Mula. We call him Dharma and so on. Dharmasya Prabhurachyutaha, we say, right? So that is given. Then the supreme being, sentient being represented by the word Atma, supreme by Parama, Paramatma. We get Param itself means supreme. So supreme being is denoted by the term Paramatma. We saw it. Now, okay, so the word God is defined in English. We have seen this. So we are going to continue along the lines of what we had covered in the previous class, just going a little deeper and returning to Vishishtadvaitha. That is what is the agenda for today. So the word God is defined in English in these four ways, and we have words that mean the same thing in Sanskrit as well. Now, we are not trying to say here that every Sanskrit word is perfectly translatable in English or anything. We are simply saying that there are plenty of cases where you can really use Sanskrit words to understand whether the criteria are met. So here we are seeing that the criteria are met. Creator, yes, he is the creator, he is the protector, he is the destroyer, he is the ruler, he is the source of all moral authority, he is the supreme being. All of those are very easily fulfilled if we look at our scriptures. So now, the next thing that we need to understand here is that the word God implies real entity. Now, in Sanatana Dharma, we do not have the word God. Of course, it is an English word, but based on the meaning, we have an entity who is described. That entity is a real entity. How real? Why should we talk about real entity and unreal entity? When we looked at certain other schools of philosophy, we saw that there are certain schools, Buddhist schools, which also preach uh, moral righteousness and so on. But there is one school in specific that we saw called Madhyamika, which says that nothing exists at all. Madhyamika school of Buddhism says that nothing exists at the Atma. There, it's referring with even Advaita, which says Atma exists. So when Shankaracharya says Om Shivoham, what is that Shiva? That Shiva does not mean nothing. It does not mean nothingness. It refers to the Atma. How do we know that it refers to the Atma as per Shankaracharya? Nothingness. What if Shankaracharya also meant the exact same thing? We know that this is the case because we have plenty of the works of Shankaracharya. The Shankaracharya's commentary on the Brahma Sutras is available. Shankaracharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita is also available. All the three, they consistently say that there exists Atma. Atma is existing. Vishishtadvaitha also says Atma exists. The difference between Advaita and Vishishtadvaita, as has probably been explained by me before, is that Advaita says Atma exists, but there is only one Atma. Vishishtadvaita says there are infinite Atman with one Paramatma and all the other, the remaining infinity. Infinity minus one is also infinity. So the remaining infinite Atman are Jivatman. In this manner, Vishishtadvaita is saying. So the Jivo Brahmaiva na Paraha part of Advaita is not taught in Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita teaches that Jiva is different, Paramatma is different, but you could say that nothing exists other than Paramatma because everything that is not Paramatma is the Sharira of Paramatma. Anything that is possessed by a sentient entity, Yasya Chetanasya Yat Dravyam Sarvatmana Swarthe Niyantum Dharayitum Cha Shakyam Tat Sheshataika Swarupam Tat Tasya Shariram, which exists only for the purpose of adding glory or displaying the glory of that possessor and is completely owned and born, B-O-R-N-E, and controlled by it. That is called as Sharira. As everything in the universe, be it Jivas, be it non-living things, as everything is in the control of Paramatma, we say that as per Vishishtadvaita, we very clearly say that Jivatma is Bhagavat Sharira. Okay, what about a stone in front of me? If there is a statue made of stone, that is also Bhagavat Sharira. What about some star? What about the solar system? Yes, that is also Bhagavat Sharira. Water, Bhagavat Sharira. Air, Bhagavat Sharira. Everything is Bhagavat Sharira. The Upanishads have said so. Therefore, we are also saying that way. Thus, with his Sharira, Paramatma in entirety is a real entity as per Vishishtadvaita. So in Advaita, with his Sharira part does not come. Everything that we call as Bhagavat Sharira in Vishishtadvaita, it is going to be a result of Maya as per Advaita. So we say in Vishishtadvaita that Yes, Paramatma is a real entity. And it is not just the Atma part of him that is real. The entire Sharira of Paramatma, that includes Jivatman and also all the non-living entities. All of that are real. They really exist. The existence, you can call it temporary if you want. You can say that something changes from one state to another, like how they say in science, matter is neither created nor destroyed, but it changes from one form to another. In the same way, here we say that even the non-living entities, they are real, they really exist. They change from one form to another, but at all points of time, they remain Bhagavat Sharira. Okay, what next? We saw about the word Sanatana. We said that Sanatana means that which is eternal, that which exists forever is called Sanatana. Now, what exists forever as per Advaita? Obviously, Atma. Atma exists forever. What about Vishishtadvaitha? I just gave an example. I said matter is neither created nor destroyed. Why did I give that example? Because matter is non-living, correct? We say in Vishishtadvaita that all the achetanas that we see, all the non-living entities that we see, be them in macro form or micro form today, at some point of time, they were in micro form. Which kind of a micro form? Like how they explain in science. They say there was, they say there is a theory called Big Bang theory. There was a point of singularity. Uh, Everything was, all the matter in the universe was existing in an infinitesimally small space, which cannot be defined in terms of boundaries also, because it is the smallest possible space. It is so tiny, it is almost as if it existed in zero space. That is accepted by Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita says that everything in the beginning was in Sukshma Swarupa. Sukshma. Sukshma meaning tiny, micro, infinitesimally small. So, how small is the Jivatma? It is already extremely tiny in terms of occupying space. So tiny that you cannot have an inside of it. Is it made of matter? No. What is it made of? It is made of jnana. This, the fact that Atma is made up of jnana is accepted by Advaita as well. Okay, but what about matter? Matter is also Bhagavat Sharira. Matter sometimes is big. A car is big. Maybe if I look at something smaller, a pencil is smaller. Then there are much smaller things. So matter does not seem to have a specific constraint in terms of a necessary maximum space to be occupied. Atma, we say Jivatma is always infinitesimally small. What about Paramatma? Paramatma is everywhere. Paramatma is Vibhu, exists everywhere. Okay, but what about the in-between? Matter, all the non-living entities. What do we say for them? We say that all the non-living entities, yes, it is true that they are not necessarily constrained by limitations in space. You could have a chair, you pile up 4 chairs on top of it, you will have 5 chairs. A set of 5 chairs will be much taller than what you initially had. You have something in metal, you add more metal, it will become bigger. So it is possible to see much larger entities. We have the earth, we have the sun. There are celestial bodies going around. They are very, very huge. Then we have microscopic organisms. Matter is not constrained, correct? In the sense that it could be the bodies of microscopic organisms. They are those bodies themselves. They are extremely tiny. Yet we also have celestial bodies that are very huge. However, all of this microscopic and macroscopic entities that are there, all of these things were also initially infinitesimally small. All of them were occupying the same space. All of them were occupying the same space. And that space was infinitesimally small. And the same space was also occupied by infinite Jivatman. Please understand carefully. Normally, in the universe, we don't say that two different entities occupy the same space. Correct? For example, if I'm wearing clothes or if I'm wearing a watch, what happens? When I put on this cloth, what happens? It does not pass through my body. If I wear a watch, it will not pass through my wrist. If it passes through my wrist, then it will fall down. How does it stick to the body? It sticks because the body is occupying different space. It is occupying a different region in space. And whatever I am wearing is occupying a different region in space. This is how it works in science. Not just science, it is logic as well. We know it for a fact. When can two entities exist at the same time? Can water and salt exist at the same time? We say yes, you dissolve salt in water and you have it. But once again, at the microscopic level, we realize that H2O molecule is separate. The salt molecule, whichever kind of salt you are having, let us say NaCl, that is different. These two are close to each other, but the space occupied by the individual water molecule is not the same space that is occupied by the salt. So at a microscopic level, they are still occupying different regions in space. It is just that wherever there were gaps, the salt molecules went through. That is all. But we do not see that in the case of Sukshma Sthiti. We are talking about a state of existence when it is pre-creation. Creation happened from Sukshma Sthiti to Sthula Sthiti. From a microscopically tiny to a macroscopically extremely large. How large? As large as the universe. Dimension. That is what we are talking about. So, when such a thing happened, we are saying that initially everything occupied the same region of space. Is it possible to imagine? Is it possible to imagine? I can't even imagine a table, the table that is there in front of me. I cannot imagine the table to be as small as a book, for example. I cannot imagine. I will think if you cut it into a smaller piece, yes, the smaller piece would be there. How would you really compress this? Is it even possible to compress? Don't think about any of that. Our scriptures have said, they have said how the Sukshma Sthiti is still in control of Bhagavan, and how the Sthula Sthiti is a consequence of Bhagavat Sankalpa. That is a consequence of his divine will. So what are our scriptures saying? Our scriptures are saying that Bhagavan, he is Sarva Shariri. Everything is his Sharira. So when you really say everything, if you want to include every single thing, what would be there? Yes, Paramatma would be there. The Jivas would be there. Then all the non-living entities would be there. Chit, Achit, Ishvara. All the three would be there. These three constitute everything. We call it Tattvatraya. Now, we are saying that Ishvara is Sarva Shariri. He has everything else as his Sharira. What exists other than him? Infinite Jivatman and infinite Achetana Vastus. That is all. So, all the living and the non-living beings are part of his Sharira. Then how did creation happen? Sukshma Chidachit Vishishta Brahmaiva Jagat Karanam. Sukshma Chidachit Vishishta. So this infinitesimally small, Chit meaning the Jivatman, Achit meaning the non-living Prakriti. This was already possessed by Bhagavan as his Sharira. So Bhagavan, who had Sukshma Chit and Sukshma Achit as his Sharira, he is Jagat Karana. He is the cause of creation. So that therefore, what is creation? Avasthantara. It is the change of state of existence from this micro Sukshma to macro Sthula. So we say that the creation, we say in Vishishtadvaitha that creation refers to the change in the state from Sukshma to Sthula. That is what we call as the creation of the universe. How is it different from Advaita? Advaita says all of this is fine, but all of this is inside Vyavahara. Therefore, as per the absolute truth, in the realm of absolute truth, nothing is really created, nothing is really destroyed. It appears to be created, it appears to be destroyed, but none of it is really true. What is true then? Is everything false? Is everything just emptiness, as certain modern gurus like to tell the public? No. Advaita says everything other than the Atma is an illusion. Everything other than the Atma cannot be called, none of that which is Anatma can ever be called as existing. Of course, Satchenna Badhyeta, Asatchenna Pratiyeta. If there is zero existence, you cannot have perception of it. But you are having perception. Yet, if it is a purely existing entity, then it should retain its fundamental properties that define its existence throughout time. But we do not see that also happening, and therefore, avidya, that is the ignorance that causes the illusions that are seen by people, it is taken as sadasad anirvachaniya. We cannot classify it as sat. We cannot classify it as asat. said Shankaracharya. But in Vishishtadvaitha, we say it is already a reality only. Everything that is here, we don't take it as an illusion, we take it as a reality. So the word, just like how the word God would be appropriate only if a God actually exists, correct? How do you define the word God? As per Advaita, in Paramartha, is there a creator of the universe? No. As per Vyavahara, is there a creator of the universe? Yes. As per Vyavahara, there is a creator of the universe, ruler of the universe, source of all moral authority, supreme being. But what do you mean by as per Vyavahara? What is this Vyavaharika Satya? It is truth as experienced within the realm of ignorance. When the ignorance completely goes away, the state is Paramartha. In Paramartha, what is Paramarthika Satya? As per Paramarthika Satya, is there a creator of the universe? No. Is there a ruler of the universe? No. Is there a source of all moral authority? No. Is there a supreme being? No. Why? Because there is only one being, the Atma. That is what the Advaitin say. So, Vishishtadvaita, if you go as per Vishishtadvaita, the English word God and the definitions used by it refer to an entity that really exists. Whereas if you go by Advaita, then the meanings brought out by the word God refer to an entity that does not really exist. You do not have a creator of the universe. You do not have the ruler of the universe. You have an entity that appears to be the creator of the universe due to ignorance. That is the difference. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So coming back to the word Sanatana also. Sanatana means eternal. What is eternal? Advaita says Atma is eternal. Vishishtadvaita says Jivatma is eternal, Paramatma is eternal, Prakriti is also eternal. But it changes its nature. So it remains Sukshma, then it becomes Sthula, and in Sthula itself you see various things changing every now and then, correct? So I have wood, I burn it, it becomes smoke, it becomes some carbon dioxide, whatever. So changes are seen in Sthulavastha also. But it is change that is happening. It is still there. It does not disappear out of existence. Therefore, it eternally exists. How can you say that it eternally exists? A question might arise. If all jivas eternally exist, and if all the non-living items are also coming from a Mula Prakriti that had eternally existed in some way or the other, in some form or the other, then what has your God really created? You said God means creator of the universe and he is really the creator. How could he be called a creator if everything that you say that he has been created by him has always been existing? Such a question could arise. And the question is very logical. What is our answer? Our answer is that creation does not mean bringing something out of nothing. Yes, Paramatma has complete power, infinite power. Yet, at the same time, what we say about creation is that he converted the state of existence from from Sukshma to Sthula, from microscopically small to macroscopically big. That is what has done. This change is what is called as creation. Atma has not been created. But then you say, oh, he created Brahma, Brahma created some Prajapati, Prajapati created 1,000 people. How are you going to explain all of that? No, their creation means changing the state of achit of some quantity of a certain composition, sub-composition of Prakriti. Prakriti has many things, right? You have Panchabhutas and so on. So, depending on that, creating a resultant which can support the existence of life when a jiva is inside of it. This is very important because this is what differentiates a living being from a non-living being. The body should be able to support the life. There could be an Atma inside stone also. In fact, there is. Inside anything that has a name and a form, there is an Atma. It has been said so by the Vedic scriptures. Therefore, but is it possible for a stone to have an Atma inside? Take the example of Ahalya, a popular story where we see the example of a person's Atma getting trapped inside a stone. What does she do when she is stone? Does she walk? No. Does she talk? No. Does she think? No. Why? Because she is stone. She is not having a body that would enable her to perform the activities of a living being. So, the bringing up of a body that can sustain a living being's activities and putting the desired Atma inside of it, that is called creation of living being. So if I say Bhagavan created me, I do not imply that he created my Jivatma. Yes, my Jivatma has been eternally dependent on him. It has been eternally dependent, but it is by itself eternal. So Jiva is eternal, but eternally dependent on Bhagavan. What else do I have? I have my body. Did Bhagavan created my body? Yes. How did he create? Was this body eternally existing? No, not as this body, but yes, the Achit part of it was existing in some other form, occupying some other region of space, some other amount of space, whatever, some other color, some other dimension, whatever it could be. It was already there. But Bhagavan brought it in this manner. He brought forth this combination. And to this combination that is called the human body, he again added one more. What is that? The jiva. So there is a jiva and then there is the body, physical sharira of the jiva. And thus, that combination, now I say I am a living being. So creation of an entity. Now scientifically also, if you look at it, my body, yes, science would also say it is eternal. How? It would say your body came from what? Your carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, all of them would have existed elsewhere. How did the body form inside your mother? It was because they formed from either existing parts of the mother's body or from the fresh nutrition that she received. Where did her body come from? Eventually, if you see, that would also come from her mother's body or from nutrition received. In this manner, nutrition received is what is really building us. What is this nutrition? Organic nutrition, with carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. This organic nutrition that we are talking about, that is what has brought me here. Okay, where did that come from? Science would again say that came from plants, whatever, some source of food. Where did they come from? They came from the soil. Where did the nutrients enter the soil from? From rocks, maybe, something like that, the science would say. Where did that come from? When the earth was formed, these were created. How was the earth formed? Science would say something else came, something happened. So, therefore, earth was formed. What happened before that? Something else happened. You keep traveling back in science, eventually you will realize that, once again, science would also say that all of these started from the microscopically small, extremely small thing. From there, From there, the entire universe kind of exploded into existence, exploded into macro existence. So science is also going to believe, and science is also going to accept when I say that my physical body, yes, as this physical body, it is new, but at some point of time in the past, or at any point of time in the past, all the constituents of my physical body were existing in some other nature. That is all. Science is going to accept that. Likewise, we say we extend it. Now, when it comes to the topic of Atma, there science does not acknowledge the existence of Atma. Science acknowledges mind, but mind is not Atma. Mind is different, Atma is different. So, what do we say? We say likewise, Atma is also eternal. My Atma would have been elsewhere. It would have been in some other person's body. It would have been, maybe it would also been cursed, and it would have been inside a stone, or it would have been in water, or in a plant, or in an animal, or in a human, or in a deva, or in an asura. Somewhere it would have been, maybe in Swarga, experiencing bhogas, maybe in Naraka, experiencing all sorts of torture. But it would have been there in the past. It has eternally been there. So, before the macro creation, where was it? Yes, it was also there along with Achit. And it was still Bhagavat Sharira. It was still dependent on him. What happened before that? Before that, so we are saying that Srishti started from a single tiny point. What was there before that single tiny point? Samhara. Before that Samhara, Sthiti. Before that Sthiti, Srishti. So Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, creation, preservation, destruction. It is a cycle. These three create a cycle. After destruction, there is again creation. So before every creation, there is a destruction. So before it was micro, it was macro. It was macro, became micro, became macro again. It will once again happen. In science, they call it big crunch. If the universe, after some point of time, they say it is possible that the universe once again shrinks back and becomes extremely tiny. What would it then be called? It would be called big crunch, they say. That big crunch, the big crunch that they are talking about, is a concept that is far more ancient than they might imagine, as it is there in our scripture. So we say that when the Mahapralaya happens and everything gets destroyed, everything eventually gets engulfed. Everything gets engulfed and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. But at all points of time, it remains the Sharira of Narayana. At all points of time, it remains under his control. At all points of time, it remains dependent on him. Therefore, he is called the supreme controller. Is this clear?
Yes.
So now that we have talked about everything, so what did we say? We said that the word God implies a real entity. This and everything, be it this Paramatma or Jivatma or Achit, all of that is eternally existing. We said that. Now, the third point, Dharma. We said in the previous class, there are many meanings for the word Dharma. Depending on the context, the meaning could change. But here, as per Vishishtadvaitha, there is no realm of illusion. There is only realm of reality. What do you mean? What if I see an illusion? What if I'm walking in the desert and suddenly I see a mirage? What happens when I see a mirage? What is a mirage? Maybe I see an oasis, I see water. I go closer and closer towards it. Then I realize there is no water. Is that not an illusion? Yes. But we say that These things, when you say something happens inside an illusion, if you say that you see water inside an illusion, does the water really exist? The water does not exist because it is inside an illusion. The illusion itself means something that is not existing, something that appears to be existing, but is not. That is called as illusion. So, in Vishishtadvaitha, we said that everything is real and everything is Sanatana. Therefore, the question of being illusion, the world being an illusion, all the world is an illusion, the entire universe is an illusion, we don't say that in Vishishtadvaitha. What can we say in Vishishtadvaitha? We can say it is temporary. The entire world is temporary. Yes, after Pralaya, it is again going to shrink, go back into that. In Samhara, after that, Srishti will again happen. It is temporary. Everything is temporary. My life is temporary. The table is temporary. Laptop is temporary. Everything is temporary. So, we would not say in Vishishtadvaita that there is a realm of reality and a realm of illusion. We wouldn't say that. Of course, even in Advaita, when they say realm of illusion, it means what? It is not an existing realm. It is just illusion. That is called as realm of illusion. But in Vishishtadvaita, we say there is a realm of temporary nature and realm of permanent nature. What is the realm of temporary nature? Our universe. What is the realm of permanent existence, permanent state, permanent nature? The realm of permanent nature is Nitya Vibhuti. Nitya Vibhuti, Shri Vaikuntha, the supreme abode of the supreme being, Vaikunthe tu pareloke Shriya Sardham Jagatpatihi, as it is said. Bhagavan resides there in Vaikuntha along with Shri. Aste Vishnu Rachityatma Bhaktair Bhagavatai Saha. He has the Nityas and the Muktas there. We saw what is Nitya, what is Mukta, we have already seen. So the Nitya Suris, the other Muktatman, then Bhagavan himself, they are all Atman residing there. And there is a region. There is Achetana. It is a type of Achetana called Shuddha Sattva, where he is existing. So, rather than saying something like Vyavaharika Paramarthika, Vishishtadvaitin would say, no, whatever you call as Vyavaharika is accepted by us as correct. But we would like to play with the terms Leela Vibhuti and Nitya Vibhuti. Nitya Vibhuti is the eternal realm of Bhagavan, which is Shuddha Sattva in nature, which is of absolute bliss, which is attained by people when they get moksha. What about Leela Vibhuti? That is where Bhagavan performs all his Leelas for our benefit. That is where all us Baddhatman reside. It is the physical universe. Okay. Now there are properties within illusion. How do we understand this? It is a little tricky. Let us look at it in an as concise a manner as possible so that it would be clear. Now, Vishishtadvaita says that everything is real. I had a dream. In my dream, something happened. What happened? In my dream, let us say, in my dream, I became, let us say, I became addicted to liquor. In reality, it never happened, but in my dream, that happened. In my dream, I went and beat my wife. And in my dream, my wife came and beat me. If I say all of these, will whatever that happened inside the dream be accepted as reality or not? It should not be accepted as reality. The second I wake up, I realize none of it ever happened. All of it was in my mind. Maybe I just watched some movie and in the movie something happened and the same thing came into my dream in some other way. That is all, right? Or is there something more to it? Bhagavad Ramanuja says, as the universe is real, the entities that you see in your dream might not really be existing the way you are, the way you are seeing them. But your experience is real. I do experience happiness or sadness, correct? Maybe I drink liquor and I feel happy. But when my wife comes chasing me, I feel sad, I feel scared, whatever. All of that happens inside the dream. Yet, all of that is an experience. So you do experience happiness, sadness, and other emotions in a dream. Dream is a state where we call it rapid eye movement state, right? REM. Sleep is categorized into several states. When you have deep sleep, dream will not come. Dream comes when you have REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. That is not really deep sleep. That is a kind of a shallow sleep. But when there is a dream, there is an experience. Bhagavad Ramanuja says, if that experience is pleasure giving, then it is punya karma phala. If that experience is making you sad or scared or whatever, it is papa karma phala. So, karma phala is what is being given to us even in dreams. A dream could make me happy, a dream could make me sad. Whatever I experience inside a dream, there also karma is playing its role. Therefore, we cannot discard dreams away as absolutely useless, non-existing things or whatever. There is a purpose behind the dream. What is the purpose? The purpose is karma phala of some kind. Okay. But are you saying that dream exists as an entity? No. We are saying it exists as an experience. So existing entities would be Achit, they would be Chit, they would be Ishvara. Experience, whatever happiness and sadness come, we cannot call them as the entities. Existing, we cannot call them as physical entities, right? Happiness and sadness cannot be called as physical entities, but they are results of karma phala. Now, inside an illusion, now just like how sometimes inside a dream things are going consistently. If the whole world is an illusion, even though the whole world is an illusion, everything is consistent inside, it says Advaita. There is consistency, right? The table that is there in front of me today is going to remain a table in front of me tomorrow. It is not going to turn into a dinosaur. Why? If it is all an illusion, why does the table not turn into a dinosaur? No, there is consistency inside the illusion. As per Advaita. As per Vishishtadvaitha, it is not an illusion. It is reality, therefore it remains a table. As per Advaita, there is a consistency within the illusion. If there is inconsistency, there would be no experience. There would be no perception. And if there is no perception, is there such a state where there is no perception? Yes, Paramartha. In Paramartha, there is no illusion, no perception. In Vyavahara, there is illusion. And there is an illusion of perception. Whatever I call as my perception of something, I cannot say table exists. I can say whatever is here is my perception of table. What do you mean by perception of table? It is the illusion of perception of table because I cannot really perceive. In this manner, Advaita would go to several levels to explain properties of entities, size, color, whatever, all of that, shape. They are explained in this manner. Vishishtadvaita says, no, your universe is real. So you can accept it as having these dimensions. As of now, it is having this dimension. Before it may have had something else. Afterwards, it might have something else. All of that is there. But as of now, this is it. And you accept it there. The word dharma, therefore, when used as property of an entity, is non-illusional. properties of entities. If a fragrant flower is there, it gives fragrance. The fragrance is not an illusion. If it is a property, it is not an illusion. A blue flower, the blue color is not an illusion. It is a property. When you say dharma is duty, duty is not an illusion. If you call duty as an illusion, you would stop doing all sorts of duty. You would do nothing. Even in Advaita, Adi Shankaracharya says you need 4 types of sadhanas if you want to get moksha. You need Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, Ihamuttara Phalabhoga Viraga, Shamadamadi Sadhana Sampat, and Mumukshutvam. You need 4 qualities. 4 sadhanas if you want to attain moksha. Let us just take one of them. Mumukshutvam, the desire to attain moksha. Would I have the desire to attain moksha if you say all the duties you do, everything is an illusion? I wouldn't have. Therefore, duty is also not illusion. What about righteousness? We said dharma is that which is righteous. Kshatriya dharma means that which is righteous for a Kshatriya. Is that an illusion? That is also not an illusion. That which is righteous, how can that be an illusion? Maybe you are convinced into believing that something that is wrong, maybe I am convinced into believing that taking a knife and attacking people with it, attacking innocent people with it, is righteous. I may be convinced into believing that way. But whatever I am believing in, is that righteous? No, it is not. So the nature of something that is righteous is by nature righteous. And therefore, that is also not an illusion. If it is an illusion, it has to be something else. But righteous does not become unrighteous. Unrighteous does not become righteous. Righteous, there is an eternal righteousness that is there, which comes under Sanatana Dharma. Therefore, that is not an illusion. Is this clear?
Clear.
So the things that we do, the thoughts, words, actions, they are all real. We do not take it as unreal. Thoughts, words, and actions are what make us to acquire karma and get karma phala. All of them are counted as real. Okay. So I will conclude today's class here. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
Only one clarification.
Yes.
You mentioned about Brahma Sutras.
Yes.
Is the Shri Bhashya same Brahma Sutra?
Shri Bhashya is Bhagavad Ramanuja's commentary on the Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutras themselves were composed by Vedavyasa. He is called Badarayana. He sat under a Badari Vriksha, therefore he got the name Badarayana. Vedavyasa composed the Brahma Sutras to clarify the teachings of Vedas with small aphorisms.
So is it necessary to read this Shri Bhashya, and what is the right copy?
What do you mean by, is it necessary to read the Shri Bhashya? I don't understand your question, sir. Sorry.
No, because like we read Bhagavad Gita, like that Shri Bhashya to be a Brahma Sutra to be read.
See,
Commentary.
So, see, I will tell you. Prasthanatrayi, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Vedanta Sutras, that is the Brahma Sutras. All the 3 are together treated as one group. This is the group of Vedanta. Okay. Whether you are an Advaiti, Vishishtadvaitha, whatever, if you are really studying your philosophy, you cannot ignore any of these 3. But all of these 3 will say the same thing only. You will not see anything different that is said.
Okay, that is a good point. Okay. They all say from different angles.
Yeah, so they do not, so it is not like Bhagavad Gita will say something, Vedanta Sutras will say one thing. Never. So when people interpreted also, if you see Shankaracharya's commentary on Brahma Sutras and the Shankaracharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, you would see that he is explaining Gita with Brahma Sutra and Brahma Sutra with Gita. How can you do both at the same time? Ramanuja also does that. How can you do both at the same time? No, we are simply trying to explain. That is all. So, when trying to explain, if we already know that Bhagavad Gita is 100% consistent with Brahma Sutras are 100% consistent with Upanishads, because Brahma Sutras exist only to teach the Upanishads. The teachings of the Upanishads were clarified with Brahma Sutras. And the same teachings of the Upanishads are what are brought out by the Gita. Don't you know this famous shloka? Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopala nandanaha. Partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham Gita amritam mahat. Have you heard this shloka? Sarvopanishado gavaha. All the Upanishads are like cows.
That's right. I know. That comes in the preamble to the Gita. Correct. Okay.
Yes, the preamble to the Gita that is recited by especially the Advaitin. There they say this, right? So what is this? If Sarvopanishado Gavo, all Sarvopanishado Gava means all the Upanishads, you take them to be cows. Then what is Gita? How does the shloka end? Dugdham Gita Amritam Mahat. Dugdha meaning milk.
Yeah. No,
So
that means it is clear what you are clarifying. Now, my question.
The Upanishads have only come to Gita.
Can we limit it only to Gita as my question?
Yes, sorry.
Can we limit it to reading only Gita as my question?
See, firstly, when you say reading, I have a problem, okay, because we have
listening to discourses
from,
also by Swamijis and others.
Yes, listening to, that's what. So listening to Guru, let us take learning as that way only. Let us not call it as reading. Is it necessary to read? It depends on what your purpose is. If your purpose is to attain knowledge, then you could very well learn all. If your purpose is to only get moksha, then it is not necessary to master even one of them. What is the final teaching? The final teaching, Vishishtadvaitha, is very simple. You do bhakti, do sharanagati. That is it. Prapatti will give moksha. That is the core teaching of
And what is the purpose in acquiring knowledge?
For acquiring knowledge, as many things are there, you can study. What is there? If you want knowledge, if you want to know, so suppose you are reading Gita Bhashya. Suppose you are trying to learn Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Arya quotes Vishnu Purana. Now, if you ask me, should I learn Vishnu Purana or not? Without learning Vishnu Purana also, you can understand it. He has already explained the meaning. But if you see, if you go and learn Vishnu Purana, you will the same way. But remember this. If you read Bhagavad Gita, how do you study? I mean, if you study Bhagavad Gita as per Advaita, you will be studying with Shankaracharya's commentary. Now, if Shankaracharya's commentary is citing Vishnu Purana, and you decide, okay, I want to grow my knowledge, I want to study Vishnu Purana, then you will have to study Vishnu Purana as per Advaita commentary. Remember that. Okay. And if that commentary cites Ramayana, then you will have to study Ramayana. And if that commentary cites something else, you will have to study that also. So if you are really pursuing knowledge, yes, I want 100% clarity everywhere. Remember, all of these would be as per Advaita. Then again, if you start studying from the perspective of Vishishtadvaitha, for Vishishtadvaitha, we have a separate commentary on Vishnu Purana, we have separate commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a commentary on Ramayana. So all of those things are again going to be there. So if you are simply pursuing knowledge, it could become an endless pursuit which is not finished in your lifetime. But yes, one after another, you can go ahead. If your question is whether everything that is said in the Gita, so all the practical teachings that are needed are already there in the Gita. All the fundamental truths that are needed are also in the Gita. What is there extra then? Extra here and there, Purva Paksha Sutras will be there. Brahma Sutras, here and there, one opponent will come and say, this is how it is. Then we will say, no, that is not how it is. In Bhagavad Gita, you do not have Purva Paksha part. You have only the doubt kind of questions. Arjuna asks doubts. Those you have. Correct. Assuming, of course, that we are starting from the second chapter. First chapter is just a description of the battlefield and so on. And Arjuna getting confused and everything. But if you look at the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, Arjuna asks doubts and Krishna answers. In Brahma Sutras, you would have some Purva Paksha Sutras. The opponent will be saying some statement. Then the Siddhanta Sutras will come. We will say, no, no, that is not like that. This is the reason. So the structure is different. The way in which it is expressed is different. The sutra by itself would be extremely small. If you try to self-interpret, you will never go anywhere. You will be forced to enter a commentary. Which commentary? Depending on which side you are on, you will choose a commentary. Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, whatever. Pick a commentary.
Thank you very much. It really helps.
So in that manner, it will go. But I would say that for people who have not studied Vedas, Bhagavad Gita would be of a greater help than Brahma Sutras. A huge commentary you will study, and half of what it says, it will not even be applicable to you. Should we really go for that? No, I think Bhagavad Gita would definitely be better. Oh, what about the Upanishads? Upanishads are cryptic at the end of the day. That is why Upanishads are cryptic. Krishna says, Imam Vivaspate Yogam Proktavan Aham Abhyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manurikshvaka Vebravit. Oh, Arjuna, whatever I am telling you right now, I have already told in the past. And you do see in the Upanishads the same teachings as Bhagavad Gita. Take Ishavasya Upanishad, you will see the same teaching.
I know, and there are so many Upanishads. Correct. That's right. Clear.
So that will also have to be checked.
Thank you.
Thank you for it.
Thank you so much.